Good day. Welcome to MyHealth Cebu. I am your host, Dr. Seno, and today we are at Sacred Heart Center to celebrate the 13th year of the Independent Living Learning Center. I am going to talk today about the Transition Education Program, and I'm going to be interviewing teachers as well as occupational therapists and the people behind the center. So my first guest for this particular segment is Teacher Cheryl and Toma. Teacher Cheryl, good day.
Good day, Doc.
Okay, so let's talk about Teacher Cheryl. You are now, you used to be the head teacher of the Independent Living Learning Center, and then now you are currently teaching overseas, now also as a teacher. Okay, so let's talk about. I understand that you took up a bachelor's degree in business before you started education. So what led you to that?
Basically, I used to work in a call center, and I wanted to have a weekend off. And the only thing that you can do to have a weekend off is to study. And I had to find some sort of a course that is not too difficult for me, I thought at that time. And so I thought about special education, and also having that thought in mind that you can actually go abroad with special education. So then I took a certificate in SPED in addition.
But this was about 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, Teacher Cheryl. And then, so having made that choice, and that led you now to the path of education, specifically special education, how has that enriched your life? How does that made a difference?
It does make a difference because first, I have made really good relationships with students. It's a cliche, but it's true. This is the profession that I chose. See, I've learned that when you do something and you think of it for money and to earn, that's a job. But if you have something that you go to work and you're happy about your work and the environment that you're in, and then you realize that you already have chosen a career that you want to pursue, and then you want to enrich yourself.
So I suppose that has been said, no, that if you do something that you genuinely enjoy and you do that every day, it doesn't seem like a job. And then so you transitioned from what you thought was going to be a path in business, and then afterwards you went into an industry of IT, and then afterwards, before proceeding into special education, and now you are practicing as a teacher overseas, no, in North Carolina. Okay, so Teacher Cheryl, let's talk about the Transition Education Program, no, of which ILLC, the Independent Living Learning Center, does, no, and caters to the community in Cebu. So what is the Transition Education Program?
In ILLC, we always think that in every child's stage, there's always transition. Because in the United States, when you hear about transition, it is a stage wherein a student from elementary transitions to middle school, and middle school, they transition to high school. And then you try to make some goals in between that transition. But in ILLC, we cater to the holistic being of the child, that a child needs to transition from the house to the school, from the house to the community. And that is what ILLC is trying its best to be able to help the kids achieve the transitioning and integrating themselves in the community.
So ILLC is a school. It's a special school for individuals with special needs, and then it caters to adolescents as well as adults, no? Also older children. And then so what the school creates is a program which allows them to be able to eventually integrate into the community. Also either through. So what are the programs that ILLC offers?
At that time, we have academics, which is both functional and fundamentals, English, communication arts, and math. We also have community living for community skills. And then we have pre-vocational skills and life skills, which is very important as well. And it depends on the level of each of the child and what the program that you have to make for them.
So we have to make clear, that when it comes to special education, what's different about it is the individualized education program,
Yes.
which is the soul of special ed. So for those who are not aware of what the IEP is, or the individual education program is, it is a program that is made specifically to cater to the child's need, taking in consideration its strengths and weaknesses.
Yes.
Right. So, but what ILLC offers is that it offers something for the older individual,
Yes.
as opposed to the child who can still cope with the regular curriculum of a regular school,
Yes.
or possibly an inclusion school. So, having been the head teacher of ILLC for a long period of time,
7 years.
7 years, 7 lucky years on its 13th year, as we celebrate today. How you think ILC has contributed to the Cebu community?
It contributes a lot because ILLC is pioneer in providing services that is available for parents, and also they include themselves in advocating for our kids, which is very important, because if you don't have advocates for the kids, students will just our kids, special education, exceptional kids will just have what is available. And if you have people behind a school who is passionate with what they are doing, then they continue to innovate and provide different programs. When I started with ILLC, it was just transition education program. Leaving ILLC, we already offered fundamental FBE and MBE, which is incorporating academics, because there are kids who are able to cope with the academic demands. And then we were also able to get approval from DepEd, which is, it continues to evolve, and then we try to serve and give parents what they really need. And
older
yes.
children, or for the young adults. So one of the unique things that ILC has to offer is the job readiness program.
Yes.
So for our viewers, Teacher Cheryl, can you tell them a little more about the JRP, or the job readiness program?
When I started with ILLC, I taught job readiness program. That is my entry to ILLC, and we offered different work skills and work behaviors for the kids who are, already at the, let's say, saturation point of academic competencies.
So these are children who have been through the regular school system and have reached a certain ceiling.
Yes.
Right. And then now, with their skill sets, we now look for possible vocations.
Yes, vocations and possible work that they can do after school. Eventually, if there are, we hope that there will be, people in the community that will help us also, because we give them the skills, but we also need the community to give us work for them.
Right. No? And so through the years, on its 13th year, ILC has been lucky to partner with Autism Works,
Yes.
also. So we now have individuals who, having gone through the job readiness program, is now working with our partners, such as Autism Society of the Philippines,
Yes.
as well as the SM Group of companies, so that we have job placement programs for individuals who have special needs, who also have a skill set,
Yes.
taking into consideration their strengths and weaknesses. So, how is life in the States now that you've been there for the last 2 years? Do you enjoy it? Is it something that you...
I do. I did. I had a very different. I thought of it differently, but when I was there, then I met the students, and I had stories from other teachers where they had really different and challenging experiences, but luckily I did not, and I was able to integrate myself into the school system, and I believe my school is happy with the work that I've done, basically because I had really good training in ILLC.
So how different is the services that you provide now as a special education teacher in the US compared to the services that we provide here in Cebu specifically?
Well, in Cebu, in the public school, they also have self-contained SPED centers. However, we have not really have a lot of service for kids who have learning disability. I think it has not been focused yet because we just think that they can still cope with the demands, but in the States differently, they have a very they provide a lot of services for kids with more services for kids with learning disability.
For our viewers out there who are not familiar with what a learning disability is, so a learning disability is an individual who has a normal IQ,
Yes.
but who may struggle with one or a few aspects of learning.
Yes.
So the most common of which is a language-based problem, so
Yes.
which is also known commonly as dyslexia. And then there's also a problem with math, which is dyscalculia.
Yes.
And then lastly, writing, dysgraphia.
Yes.
Okay, so these learning disabilities can exist on their own, but also can exist with other disorders such as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
Yes, yes, a lot.
Or Tourette's syndrome, or Prader-Willi, or certain other disorders out there. So what you're saying is that in the U.S. there are so many services out there for learning disabilities.
Yes, not so much here, which is sad, but I feel like if they really focus on that, we'll have really good students, special kids who will thrive really well in the regular setting.
I think maybe that's the next frontier now for Cebu Special Education, is really to focus on learning disabilities. So we've been
Yes.
so focused on intellectual disability, we've been so focused on autism that we forget that there are auto services that need to be provided for individuals with learning disabilities
Yes.
outside the regular classroom setting.
And it's not that, and it's not a lot, because you just have to provide accommodations and modifications for them. You just have to provide, extended time if they need it, separate setting. Those are things that we do for accommodations. We also provide notes if they need it. It's not that much compared to the service that we give to self-contained individuals, which is a bit different.
All right. So we've had a very good chat with teacher Cheryl and Tom, and we're very privileged to have her on the show as she's here for a short vacation. So I'd like to thank teacher Cheryl and Toma, previously the head teacher of the Independent Living Learning Center, for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Okay, at MyHealth Cebu. So when we come back, we're going to be talking with occupational therapists. So come back and join us.
Thank you.
Good day, welcome back to MyHealth Cebu. I'm your host, Dr. Seno, and then we are here again at the Sacred Heart Center to celebrate the 13th year of the Independent Living Learning Center. So during our first segment, we interviewed our head teacher, teacher Cheryl and Toma, our previous head teacher, and now we are going to talk with the occupational therapists who are part of the team of Independent Living Learning Center. So good day, ladies.
Good day.
Good day. So to my immediate right is teacher Mary May Parado, and then to her right is teacher Rochelle Cindy Quizon Satilian, and then the lady furthermost is Francis Isabella Teves, or teacher Mary, teacher Cindy, and then teacher Atet respectively. So good day, teachers.
Good day.
So all of you are practicing at the Independent Living Learning Center and are occupational therapists.
Yes, ma'am.
So for our viewers out there, can you tell them what is the practice of occupational therapy?
So, occupational therapy is basically we cater to children and adults with special needs or with physical disabilities to fulfill their full capabilities in their activities of daily living.
How is occupational therapy different from, say, physical therapy or speech and language pathology? Can any of the ladies answer? Teacher, but my understanding is there are several kinds of therapeutic interventions, no? So physical therapy, occupational therapy, and then speech and language pathology. So OT deals with more in children.
Behavior, more on mental.
So teacher behaviors is in one of them. What else? I understand there's also eye-hand coordination, self-help skills, no? And then what's different with physical therapy is it deals more with strength, balance, and coordination.
Yes. Basically, physical therapists they help the people
that they need to function, like more of gross motor skills. So for example, they need to walk, or it's ambulate. Basically, it's like that. But in occupational therapy, we deals on people who needs something that is they need in their daily living.
So more function.
Yes, more function, and to it's in the word occupation, to bring back the occupation of the person itself.
And then in children, the occupation is to function in a group, to be able to go to school, to be able to...
Yes, that's
to,
the transition.
The transition, okay. So, so do you like being OTs? Is it something that you always thought that you wanted to do? Teacher Atet, did you always want to be an occupational therapist?
Yes. Ever since I was in college, I really liked the course, but I was eyeing on being in a hospital, in a rehab center. But then being in pedia for around 3 years already, I really enjoy it, and it's very fulfilling. So I like being an occupational.
Teacher Cindy, do you also what do you find interesting about working with the child? What makes working with children interesting? What makes it different?
Actually, being with children is really different. So I can feel that they are my family already.
That's right. So after a while, you tend to develop this relationship with the child, no? Because the child is very giving. Okay. What are your experiences as an occupational therapist, Teacher Mary?
Being an occupational therapist, you tend to handle different children's. You get bitten, you get hurt because they don't know what they're doing, or that's how you help them achieve to be able to cope with themselves. As an,
All right. So I understand that it's difficult. It's a lot of it takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of hard work, and but it is fulfilling.
Yeah, it
no?
is.
What Teacher Cindy, what makes the practice of OT in children fulfilling?
Fulfilling in terms that you can achieve the goals of the parents. For example, they will say, teach, gusto ko makasuwat na sila, teach, gusto ko kanang mo sit down sila during school. So it's very fulfilling when the parents will tell you, teach, very achieving kaayo, like they will say, teach, the teachers in school said that they are sitting na usab, and then they can sit down for a long time, so then they can write.
No? Yeah, so what the fulfilling part really is when you work very hard and then the child gives back.
Yes.
Diba? Because you yourself, you give so much of yourself in your practice, and then eventually the child does give back. Diba? Ikaw, Teacher Mary, how many hours a day do you work? How many hours a day do you work, Teacher Mary?
I usually work around 5 to 6 hours a day.
5 to 6 hours a day, and is it a lot of work?
It is.
It is.
Especially, it starts early in the morning.
Okay.
And it may not end late, but
That's right.
the effort and the work you give every day for different kids.
That's right.
For this different aspect of their difficulties.
Right, right.
It's really stressful, but
Right.
yeah, that's what you've said. It's
Okay.
really fulfilling.
Ikaw, Teacher Atet, now that you've been working for 3 years, do you see yourself working at it for another 3 years? Or possibly even longer? Because of, you feel as though that's really important? No?
I guess so, because there's so much to learn, and every day is a new experience, and it's always trial and error with the kids. So kanang nindot siya padayon para mas mo-grow as a professional, and yes, it's very kanang pagka-fulfilling good sa work is very kanang nindot good og feeling.
So, for our viewers, let's basin nahibong mo na ngano na may occupational therapist sa school. Unsa may gamit sa occupational therapy in a school setting. So, if any of the 3 ladies in front of me can perhaps share with our audience na unsa may gamit, unsa may purpose gyud sa OT in the school setting.
So mostly among kids right now is sa school based nga ano. So most of their problems are with behavior. So
right.
kanang pag-focus nila sa ilang schoolwork, sa pag-sit down, sa ilahang some of the kids have hyperactivity, so ilahang pag-focus, ilang pag-attend sa ilahang mga schoolwork, and then with socialization also, with fine motor skills, we help them with that. just develop their behavior and their skills for school.
Okay. So, ang giingon ni Teacher Atet is kanang basically she's summarizing the practice of occupational therapy already, no, na kanang pero pabor sa sud sa school kay ma-apply na mangud dayon. So dili siya in theory, but it's actually in practice. Yeah, at the same time you get feedback right away from the teachers, from the child, as well as from the family. Okay, so Teacher Mary, will you still want to practice adult occupational therapy if the opportunity arises, or would you like to continue to practice with pedia gihapon?
I like both adult and pedia because OT is kind of broad. So practicing with different levels or different disabilities doesn't also broaden your knowledge.
Right.
So I think what you learn from adult may also help you learn for the kids.
Right.
So I think I would, if given the opportunity,
to also work with the adult.
adults.
Right. But working with ILLC, the ILLC is a center that deals with children, teens, and adults, young adults also. So even though your practice is mostly in peds, mura mong na-expose mo also to the young adult. No, kay ILC has students who are in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s also. Yeah, and some of them may also continue to need occupational therapy services. Okay, so if you could do it all over again, if you had a chance to go back, would you choose the same path of occupational therapy? Ikaw, Teacher Cindy, I understand you are you the most senior in the group? Okay.
Yes.
So ikaw, would you
ILC for about 7 years.
7 years now, okay? So would you want to still continue the path of occupational therapy?
Yes, I will still continue the path of being in the pedia field because Independent Living Learning Center is really broad.
That's right.
So it's not only in children but also adolescents and adults. But before I entered Independent Living Learning Center, I also work in adults, but more of physical dysfunction. However, in Independent Living Learning Center, it's more of physical, psychological.
That's right.
More of psychosocial. So it's another wave. It's a different wave
Right. So
from.
it seems as though that not only are you helping the children, no, or you're helping the teens, but they've also helped you in some way, no, to grow also, no. Okay, so so is there, now that you've been practicing for some time in Cebu, you know, all of you are from Cebu, no? Teacher Mary, Teacher Adet, Teacher Cindy, all of you are from Cebu. Are there any plans to go elsewhere? As occupational therapy still is a very popular profession overseas, no? Okay, that's right. No, so for those among you who have colleagues who are not practicing overseas, how different is the practice sa inyong understanding, no? Since you haven't worked naman overseas, no? Pero sa inyong naibawan, how different is the practice here in Cebu compared to the practice overseas? Sa inyong naibawan. Is there any difference or is it the same again?
I think it's more. I'm not really sure, but I think it's more easier there, because here we have more aside from limited resources, we do it manually, and there they have all the machines, the
That's right.
materials,
Right.
and new technologies.
Okay, so maybe what that teaches you is resourcefulness, no? So meaning if you don't have the materials in front of you, you make do. You just look for the goals that are necessary. Okay, so as we try to close this segment, no, on occupational therapy in the special education setting, specifically at ILLC, can you give us a few words, no, as to why OT is necessary in the special education setting? So we'll start off with Teacher Mary. So why is OT important in SPED?
So OT is important in SPED, as what Teacher Atet have said. We manage behavior and we help children focus in school. So kids in special education mostly have difficulty sitting down, focusing on their activities, able to finish an activity or stuff. So that's why OTs are there to help teachers, SPED teachers, know what activities to provide so that they will focus more on a specific activity, or they will be able to lessen their hyperactivity.
That's right. Okay. Thank you. So, next, Teacher Cindy. Or would you like to go first, Teacher Aten? So again, what is the role of OT in the special education setting?
So most of the kids in the SPED setting usually have problems with self-regulation. So we help them cope whenever they're in school. They should be seated. They should be focusing on their work. They should be learning. So the precursory skills that they need. So we help them achieve them, and then we also work with the teachers to modify the environment, which is so that it would be better for them to kanang work in school.
Okay, and then Teacher Cindy.
Independent Living Learning Center is about more independence. So we make not only children, since they have their own activities of daily living, but also adolescents and adults. So we transition children from job readiness, and then we help also for like how to function independently how to function independently in our daily living. For example, school to the work.
That's right.
Or home to school.
That's right. Okay, so multiple settings. So I'd like to thank our occupational therapist from the Independent Living Learning Center. Thank you so much for your time and for gracing us this afternoon or this day. Teacher Mary, Teacher Cindy, and Teacher Aket. So thank you for joining us today at MyHealth. Okay, so come back and join us for our last segment. Talking about transition education program of the Independent Living Learning Center. So I hope you'll join us. Welcome back to MyHealth Cebu. I'm your host, Dr. Steven Seno, and we are now going to be joined by the current teachers of the Independent Living Learning Center as we celebrate their 13th year, 13th school year. And with us, to my immediate left, is Teacher Julina Denise Enriquez, the head teacher of the Independent Living Learning Center. And then to her left is Teacher Precious Igona. And then to Teacher Precious's left is Teacher Sarah May Panisan. So Teacher Joel, Teacher Precious, Teacher Sarah, good day.
Good day.
Okay, so congratulations on your 13th year, and thank you for having us this day. So let's talk about SPED. So all of you are special education teachers. Did you always want to be a special education teacher, Teacher Joel?
Honestly, Doc, no.
No.
I was eyeing for a major that involves numbers because I like numbers.
All right,
before.
okay.
And then when we had our career orientation when I was in high school, and then it was introduced, the SPED was introduced, and then it's parang I don't believe na I am made to be a teacher.
Okay.
But for SPED, because I am very close with my cousin.
That's right.
No, so
You have a cousin with special
yes,
needs?
Yes,
Okay.
Doc. Yes, Doc. And then, basically, mo na yung naka-inspire na ako.
Okay.
Nakapa-change gyud sa akong
Perspective,
mind.
di mo na
Yes, Doc.
magpursuon ta kag something na dunay numbers,
Yes,
ni
Doc.
diretso na lang kag SPED, but ang SPED na man say numbers gamay.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
but
yeah.
dili gid siya ingon it's not like accountancy,
Okay,
it's not
yeah,
like
yeah,
mathematics,
yes,
no.
sir.
But it somehow touches that, no? So you had a family member influence you.
Yes.
Ikaw, Teacher Precious, who influenced you to take up SPED?
Actually, Doc, it was for practical reasons
It's
because
practical, okay.
before it was on the trend that special educators are highly hired abroad.
That's right,
So
that's
for
right.
practical reasons, I took up SPED. But
Okay.
first, I took up information technology.
IT.
Yes, Doc,
Okay.
and then eventually I stopped, and then I
You
proceeded
pursued
to education.
Education.
Yes.
Yeah, Kuman, is it more difficult? Do you think now you chose a more difficult path?
I
Now
don't
that
think
you-
so.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's a job that's very fulfilling though.
That's right.
For the IT, it's not really my forte.
Yeah,
so-
murag somehow you stumbled upon the path that you were supposed to take.
Yes, Doc. Yes.
No, kanang you avoid the path that eventually chooses you.
Yes, and
Okay, so-
with this course, I felt at ease.
That's
So,
right.
yeah.
Okay, so you found your calling.
Yes,
Ikaw, Teacher Sarah, did you always want to be a teacher? And specifically, do you always want to be a special education teacher?
Honestly, Doc, in my case, it was my parents' choice.
Okay.
Yes. Among my siblings, ako ra ang lahi, of course. So,
Okay.
my 3 other siblings, they are taking up, inclined to technology. So,
Okay.
I really love to take on software engineering.
Okay.
But then my mother was
Wanted you to do it.
yeah, and my mother was once a teacher, English
I
teacher,
see, I
and
see,
then
I
na-stop
see.
ihang profession, so she wanted me to continue her college.
So iyang gi-project
Yes.
ang iyang untang fulfillment.
Yes, but
nimo, no?
eventually, I even almost stopped this course, second year college. But then na-seen ako nga, nindot man di ay calling, and then naka 3 years na ako nag-teach sa ILLC because na-love na ako ang children and
That's good.
ILLC.
Okay. Sige. So, you all of you teach at the Independent Living Learning Center, no? So, how is the program at ILLC different from other schools?
Ilahang way of living and
That's
yung
right,
culture
no?
dito. So,
True.
ang lahi po ang pag-adopt sa children. So, lahi, even in Cebu, if we are to teach in provinces, lahi sad ilang way of living dito.
That's right,
So,
that's
lahi sad ang city life, lahi sad ang province life. No? So,
alright.
different
So,
siya.
you feel as though na what you do now, based on what you've been through as an adult, well, it's a good fit.
Yes, Doc.
Alright, sige. So, can you give our viewers here no just an overview na unsa may difficulties of teaching exceptional children? So, what are the obstacles that you encounter when you teach individuals who are nonverbal, individuals who have behavioral concerns, no? Ikaw, Teacher Joel, what are the things that you've encountered in your practice?
Since before, Doc, when I started in ILLC, ang biggest challenge for me was to handle students with assaultive or like disruptive behaviors.
That's right, no?
Because wala man sa ako internship, wala ko na expose of kids
Okay.
with those behaviors, no. And then when I started in ILLC, naagi dayon siya direct experience
Oh, yeah.
dayon.
On the first day na
Yeah,
dayon. Okay.
naa dayon, Doc. So
Okay.
and then wala pa kay koy background unsaon gyud ang proper way of paghatag og intervention. So
That's right.
I think mo na siya ang one of the 2 things na for me ang pinaka-challenging. And the second one is to meet the demands of the parents.
That's right.
Marag,
Okay.
Naglisod ko because there are also parents na mo hatag og mo follow through sa balay, and those
Nakuwang gyud og
kuwang
follow through.
gyud, yes, Doc.
Okay.
And then mo na maglisod ko og hatag og intervention or kuan sa bata, intervention because of the demands.
Right. Because diba ang school man is just one part of the child's life, no? Nya, truth be told, the child does spend more time at home than he does at school. So, kung unsay mabot sa eskwelahan, doon nagay limitations kung dili siya i-follow through sa balay, no? Ikaw, Teacher Precious, did you have similar obstacles dealing with being a special education teacher?
My challenges that I faced was how to gain the attention of the child
That's right.
that gets easily distracted.
That's right. Okay.
So I find it hard to like create activities just to get their attention.
no?
Oo.
So the child was easily
Because
distracted.
once their attention is disrupted, it's hard
to bring
get
them
their
back.
attention back.
Right.
So,
Yeah, especially if kanang the child itself, doon na siya kanang predisposition to be inattentive, kinta doon na ADHD or kinta di gid siya interested sa imong gitudlo, no? So mabaw you kag mangitag paagi, no, to be able to bring them back. Okay? Ikaw, Teacher Cheryl, what were your own obstacles? What were your own encounters as a special education
my own
teacher?
encounters, Doc, is I have this feeling on how to keep them motivated in going to school. At some point in my teaching, I always question myself na, how can I make this child learn? Like, how can I make this child love to go to school every
That's right,
day?
that's right.
And,
No, so
and
meaning-
Doc. And then, morag ma-question sin ako, asa pa mo ko nagkuwang? Like, there are times in
so muna sa
na mga-
kaginikanan na ako gakuwang
yes,
ko.
Doc.
ano?
Murag, unsa pa may kuwang? Like,
That's right. Okay.
Doc.
All right. So the calling of being a teacher is unique. Right? It's a vocation. No? So not everybody is meant to do it because there's a certain skill set that is needed. You know, you have to be very empathic, you have to be very compassionate, you have to be very patient. Yeah, more so when you deal with children with exceptional needs. Okay? So, sa inyong understanding, so you've been practicing for some time already, you're not necessarily novices, no? Pero sa inyong tanong, unsa pa may, what else can what else does Cebu need in terms of services for individuals with exceptionalities or individuals with special needs? Unsa pa may kailangan sa Cebu for it to be able to grow further?
I think, Doc, it would be better if the public are properly aware
That's right,
regarding
okay.
that these children exist and
That's
that
right, okay.
we have to help them.
That's right. Okay, so more awareness.
More awareness.
Okay. So unsa pa? What else? Do you think there are services that need to be provided? Now, what pag offer in our setting na the Cebuano community can definitely benefit from?
I think, Doc, or kanang para lang gid nako, maybe Cebu can create more job readiness program for students, because mo grow up man gid na atong students. So
That's right.
we need to create more environment for them to function basically
That's
in the
right.
community.
Okay. Ikaw, Teacher Sarah, what are your thoughts?
For them to be able also to fully function in the community, accessibility nila.
Sad, no? So, di ba, there are terms like there's a term for impairment, there's a term for disability, and there's a term for handicap. So, ang handicap ng is one that is imposed by society. No? So, if we make accommodations for individuals with impairments and disabilities, what na tong handicap? Okay, so maybe that's what we're trying to say here, no? Okay, so interesting tong ingon ni Teacher Joel about job readiness, no? Okay, kana mga individuals with exceptionalities or special needs, they do grow up to become adults eventually, no? Especially kung walay disease or walay disorder na which can shorten their life, no? So they will have the life expectancy of a typical adult, no? Of a typical individual. So, unsa may mga jobs out there that is ready for individuals with exceptionalities in inyong nibawaan? Are there jobs already available?
Sa ako experience, Doc, we do have a student na kanang ready na siya for a job like kanang baggers, kanang systematic lang, Doc, ba? And then pwede ra sad nimo ma-introduce niya step by step for bagging, and then pwede sad those students nga high functional gay, Doc, for CSR or call center services.
Okay, alright.
Kay mas better mo gid sila sa those students na better gid in verbally. Right.
So when you deal with individuals with exceptionalities, Manggod, you understand that there are strengths and weaknesses. Yeah, if you just work around those strengths and you work around those weaknesses, you will have somebody who is functional. Yeah, so maybe that's what Cebu needs to understand also, no, na kanang if you work with the teachers and you work with it at home and the community works with them, you will have a community that benefits from individuals with exceptionalities. Okay? So, in behalf of MyHealth Cebu, I would like to congratulate Independent Living Learning Center on your 13th year. And thank you very much for gracing the program. So, as we close this program today, can you please give just a few words to our viewers out there with regards to the program of ILLC and the Transition Education Program, and also what they can do, you know, to help individuals with exceptionalities. Sige, so just a few words lang, Teacher John.
Good day, everyone, and then I would like, in behalf of the ILLC staff, I would like to invite all of you, or most of you, if you can check out our website, our Facebook page, and then our email is illccebu@yahoo.com. If you have questions regarding our program, basically we offer programs for early intervention, we have transition education program, and then recently we launched the parallel K-12 program. We call them modified basic education and functional basic education.
All right. So again, in behalf of MyHealth Cebu, I'd like to thank all of our guests today. And from the Independent Living Learning Center, from Teacher Cheryl, to Teacher Mary, to the other occupational therapists, Teacher Atet and Teacher Cindy, as well as Teacher Joel, Teacher Precious, and Teacher Sarah. So thank you for joining us. I am your host, Dr. Steven Seno, and again, congratulations to the Independent Living Learning Center on its 30th year. Good day, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you. Congratulations. All right.